No doubt. Now, our next guest actually is, I don't think it's short.
Real live hero.
I don't think that it's short to say that he's anything but a hero. He was actually awarded the Medal of Valor by the St. Paul, Minneapolis police for saving the life of one of his fellow Minnesotans. But it was actually his acceptance speech that had social media all abuzz. Let's take a quick listen to that.
I'd like to give you an opportunity to say a few words.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I appreciate it. I feel like I did what anyone would have done with the little bit of training that I have. That day, 9 of your squad cars raced past us as I was flagging them down. It said in the letter you sent me. And that was a potential of 18 people. 18 people could have stopped to help preserve life. But 18 people chose to go to a potential threat. And I recognized the man had a pistol and we didn't know what he was doing. I do appreciate the recognition, but I won't keep this stuff because I'm very uncomfortable being here with you guys. I do not rock with the police, but I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to say these things. And I just want folks to know that they don't keep us safe. We keep us safe. Riots work. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Thanks, Alex.
Please help me welcome the good brother Alex. Brother Alex, what's up, man?
Not much, man. Thank you for having me. How's everybody doing?
Ooh, brother. Riots work, my man. Riots work.
We were extra good after seeing that video. Can't even lie to you, bro. Can't even lie to you. Now, as we get started, okay, the primary question before we do anything else,
right?
You got to tell us what actually happened that day. What caused or spawned all of that, man?
So I was. It happened a year ago, October 8th. I was taking my wife to work in St. Paul, and as we approached a busy intersection in St. Paul, Rice and Larpenteur, I heard some shots, but I recognized them as not being very close, so I wasn't really concerned. And then as I pulled to the next light, I could see on the speedway off to my right that there was a group of guys that was like running into the speedway like they was trying to get away from something. But I couldn't see a shooter and I didn't know what was going on. So I was just headed to take my wife to work. My light turned green. And from my right, someone made a right and popped in front of me, blew a red light, popped in front of me, and was swerving down the road kind of crazy. And so I fell back a little bit, was like, oh, he might be.
Yeah.
So I just chilled. We went down the road a little bit and he pulled over and then he hopped out immediately and you're good, but just he hopped out immediately and I could see he was bleeding pretty good from his left arm.
Okay.
And so then I hopped out and the first thing I asked him was, are somebody coming after you? Do we need to move from right here? He was like, no, I don't know who that is. This guy just approached the van and started shooting. So I had a towel and I wrapped it around his arm, but he was shot and he was bleeding from like his wrist. So I wrapped it around above the wound, but not high enough and not tight enough. So he was still leaking pretty good. And he was so animated and so hysterical that like he was just pumping that blood, man. And it just kept flowing. So I went and got another, got a shirt out of the van and tied it around up underneath his armpit, and just trying to get him to sit down. But he was like trying to call his girl and trying to call his boss. And so then I heard sirens coming and I thought, all right, cool. Somebody's going to come and I'll be relieved. But at the time I didn't know that back up the road, they had the shooter cornered. So now they're in what they call a standoff, right? Because the dude done put the pistol to his head. And so now they're in a standoff. I didn't know it at the time. So all I know is that the police have been called because we called, or somebody called about a shooting. Yeah,
Sure.
obviously. But then my wife called from the car, and I know there was people in the auto zone that was calling. So I was trying to flag them down, and they just kept zooming, and I counted 9 cars. And I don't know if every car had 2 officers in it. That's why in my speech I said the potential of 18 people.
Yeah.
So then EMTs did stop, and an officer stopped, and they took him in, and then the one of the officers got my information, and later that evening they called me and said, yeah, the surgeon said his artery was severed, and had I not stopped, he would have died. And I was like, oh,
Damn.
Yeah, it was pretty heavy.
Yeah, we did.
So then I got a letter a couple months later from Chief Todd Axtell, who was the chief at the time, wanting to award me this Medal of Valor from St. Paul Police Department. And I kind of sat with it for a second because I'm not a fan, and so I didn't want to. I don't need their recognition.
Validation. Yeah.
But after some conversation with my wife and like with my circle, was like, well, let's take this opportunity to make a statement.
Sure.
So that's what the plan was, and so then the St. Paul Police Department was going through a change, and they were changing chiefs. So I didn't hear anything for some time, and then maybe a month or so ago, I heard back from them with another letter, and then we started an email conversation, and then she gave me a couple of dates to choose from. I picked one. I called my man Toussaint Morrison, who runs on-site public media here in Minneapolis, and asked for a camera person to be there, because that's the thing is, like, there was no press there. They didn't have anybody there. They had one lady with a camera, but she was just watching. And so it was all police and my camera person and my wife. And we did it. And right after I dropped the camera person off and at their car, just like a block down, and my wife and I just stopped and cried. I just cried.
Of course, yeah.
And it was just a big dump of emotion, man.
Yeah, but look, I want to talk about that period from the moment the speech is done, right? That the period on the speech till you get to your vehicle. What type of, was you getting any negative body language? Was you getting any comments? Did anybody have anything to say? Did they kind of look away? What was their feedback or their thoughts or anything? Did they say anything to you after you said what you stated?
Right when I took my hoodie off, I saw one officer that was kind of chuckling, and he almost got me off my square. But I was able to finish, and right when I finished, I mean, I got 2 or 3. Thank you, Alex. Thanks, Alex. Thanks for what you did. Nobody that I saw there I didn't feel it, but I felt it. But I also didn't give anybody an opportunity to do or say anything. The whole time I was there, I was not interested in shaking hands. I was not interested in eye contact. So I was looking above them as I was speaking. And because they fully anticipated shinning and grinning and glad handing.
Yeah.
No, I was not interested in none of that shit because I wasn't there for. Ooh, can I curse?
Yeah, fuck that. Go ahead.
So I wasn't interested in none of that, and so once I got up out of there, or once I was done, I was beelining.
I can dig it. Yeah.
But then I got in the truck, and the camera person was still there, like packing their shit up, and I was like,
I can't leave him behind.
Yeah, can't leave him behind. I dig it.
So I was like, come, hop in. But yeah, it was. I
Mm.
didn't give them an opportunity, and I wasn't like looking for any reactions.
My
No
man,
doubt. No,
get
but
in and
I
out
gotta,
like an OG classic.
no doubt, no doubt. No, but all right, let's take a step back, man. What other than not banging with the police?
Yeah.
Why did you think that was the time of all the times to give that particular speech? You get what I'm saying? Because, like you said, most times other people in that position, they think it's going to be some shucking and jiving and some shinning and grinning, like you said. So, why did you think then to give that speech?
Because that would probably be my only opportunity.
Yeah.
You know, and it would be my probably my safest opportunity to voice that.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
so and also because I wasn't interested in any of the accolades, and I knew that I was only there to make my statement. There would be no other reason for me agreeing to go down to their precinct and hang out for a moment with them, other than to sort of flip it and bounce it. You know what I mean?
No, man, listen, as the resident, FTP cat on the show for life, 10 toes down, bruh.
You see me?
They make me want to break out every time they come close.
Yeah.
I've had encounters similar to you. Now I ain't go viral, but I've been on some similar things. I commend you. And when I saw the video, honestly, I had to watch it multiple times because
For sure.
I understand the level of courage that it takes to be standing behind enemy lines, looking the enemy in his face and saying, fuck y'all.
Yeah.
That takes a level of audacity and a level of courage, bro. You will get a round of applause from me forever for that. But one thing that you mentioned in there that I also, I'm that same dude on the show. I am pro ride. I'm pro burn all that shit down.
Everything. Burn it down.
Everything, every time. Why
Yep.
y'all not burning now? I'm
Hold
that
on.
dude.
Let me make sure that we let the audience know. Yes, he is FTP. I think that in general we are all FTP.
Yes.
However, this dude, I'm the one that has to bring him back from burning everything down and causing other people collateral. So let's make sure we're very clear, because there's a difference between throwing everything in the fire and being strategic. And I think that your approach, at least to me, came across as being strategic, because you didn't come across as emotional. You didn't get all
it was
up in
very,
arms.
very strategic.
Yes, indeed.
And you hit him with riots work. Like that phrase in and of itself is so strategic. Did you intentionally pick those two words?
Yeah. So normally it is very hard for me to have emotional conversations without being overly emotional, because
Sure.
I am very emotive. And so the none of it was planned for me. I didn't plan no speech. I didn't sit down with anybody and think how I should do. None of it. I knew that I wanted to touch on the amount of people that passed us.
Sure.
But beyond that, I didn't know what I was going to say. I was going to freestyle. Riots work for me. It came from after Amir Locke was killed in Minneapolis. They had on downtown's first precinct, somebody had spray painted riots work, and the city was very lucky that it was cold, because it was the middle of February and it was fucking freezing. But if it were even slightly warm, it would have got hot. So, but I saw that and I thought, damn, that's crazy. Like, there's like, yeah, it does. And then we did an action a few days later down in front of Bolero Flats where Amir was killed, and that was the first time I was given the mic at an action, and I said a few words, and then my last words were riots work. And then there's a buddy of mine at work, and it's crazy. And let me divert for a moment. My buddy and I, his name is Darius. He goes by Beef or King Beef Supreme. Hey, he loved it. He for a year and some change now. He been like, that's so funny to me. Riot's work. We should make shirts and we should do this.
Yes.
And so that day when I was getting ready to leave work to go receive the award, I told him, I said, I'm gonna say Riot's work. So that, I guess that was a planned piece, but I didn't know how I was going to fit it in. But it is very much like it's simple and it's true. Now I'm not advocating for nobody to go out and do no ill shit.
Don't worry about it. I will. Don't worry. I'll be that guy.
Yeah, he'll be the bad guy. He'll be the bad guy for all of us, my guy.
Don't worry about it. Burn all this shit down. I'm good.
No bullshit. Now, two questions.
Yeah.
Trivial questions, but questions nonetheless, man. First, where can I get that shirt?
I have a big cartel link, and I can send it to you. Matter of fact, if y'all just send me your info, I'll send y'all some shirts.
Oh, shit.
Much appreciated.
We'll swap. We'll send you something. You send us something.
Yeah, no bullshit.
Yeah.
That's what's
just send me your sizes and where it needs to be sent to.
No doubt.
Okay.
We got you. Second question. You conceal carry?
Yes, sir. Well, I have a permit to carry, which in Minnesota covers
That's enough, right?
Your permit to purchase, your conceal and carry, and open carry.
Oh, word. Shit. Ho. Minnesota's open carry?
So pretty much all of our states are open carry if you get the permit.
Yeah,
I mean, don't quote me.
No. I think you're right, but I don't think they use the language open carry.
And they don't want people.
They don't want people to know that you can do it. I think only states like Texas.
Only a few states. Yeah, only a few states.
Yeah, that actually use open carry as the language. But I believe you're right, because I think PA is the same way, that you can openly carry as long as you have all your paperwork.
Walk around with it, but then it's like, why?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then I got one more thing to worry about. I got to worry about who's on my gun side.
I dig it.
Worry about so I would rather have it concealed and not have to have that extra concern.
Well, speaking of that, being a leader in the community, man, and I don't think that even if you didn't want to, at this point after that speech, I think there's a lot of people. Yeah, a lot of folks push you in that spot. A lot of folks push you in that spot. But I was talking to a homie of mine, and one of the first things he said to me when I told him that you were going to be on the show was he's afraid for you, because he said he knows the cops are petty.
Yeah.
So it's a possibility that you've got a soft target on your back. Let's keep it 100% funky, man. Like, how do you feel about that? Because you know that at the very least you're going to get every single jaywalking ticket known to man for the rest of your life, it seems, in Minnesota.
Yeah. I've been on. I've already been in our police face. They gotta know who I am. So during the uprising, I had a Ford F-350 super duty crew cab that I had painted, spray painted with R.I.P. George, Long Live Floyd, and the back had a Black Power fist inside of Minnesota. They know who I am already.
Yeah, you ride around with that. They know you.
Yeah. And I ride around. And I ride around, make sure they know who I am. Because I don't drive that truck no more. But what's crazy is I did have an officer wave at me today, pulled up alongside of me, gave me the double glance, and waved. And that's the first incident that's ever happened.
Yeah.
I'm not really worried. I'm worried about their buddies. You know what I mean? Like,
the wannabe cops.
Right. So like, but I also know, like, right now we haven't had any direct threats. If I do, I have a community in which I have people that are willing to come and spend the night awake sitting outside of my home.
Okay.
I have people who are willing to come sit on my job. So like, we're prepared for. We're prepared.
Now, before we close out, man, we want to make sure that folks know where to find you if and where they want to find you.
And plug that podcast, bro.
Yeah, no
plug
bullshit.
that joint.
So we're not up and running yet, but it will be an hour with us, and I make sure that I blast it out when we have things up and running. Otherwise, I'm on Instagram, Alex. Alex _does.
I dig it. I ain't mad at you. I'm the same way.
I'm on Twitter at Mingus Alex, Mingus Alex, and reach out. I'm open to talk. I'm down to tell my story. I'm down to. I'm just a regular dude who happened to do some shit, and so I'm very grateful. I'm very full of gratitude. I'm humbled. From the man, Chuck D from the Ghetto Boys reached out to me.
That's what's up, man.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's what's up.
Let me
Willie D.
Willie
Yeah,
D
we got
from
you.
The Ghetto Boys reached out to me.
Yeah, we knew what time it was.
From Public Enemy, reposted my video.
Mm-hmm.
So like I'm just honored.
And you have to know that more and more people are going to be seeking you and wanting you to come speak and to be a part of things. And that's again where I come back to that organization component, because that organization component is going to really help you remain grounded in your political education, your ideology, all those things. So these other folks who will bootlick, you know what I mean, won't take advantage of you and try to use you for some slimy shit, because there's a whole lot of them cats out there.
Shit.
So just
but the bro already seems like he's got a good circle around him, man. So I don't think we got too much
I
to
tell
worry
you
about.
what, I want to stay connected. You know what I mean? So like, if I need some folk, you know what I mean? So let's
bro. Listen, reach out. We'll be in contact. Yeah, listen.
No doubt. All right. All right, Brother Mingus, we appreciate your time, man.
You sincerely.
Stepping through and sharing your story, man.
Please continue to take care of your family, man.
Yeah. Absolutely.
All the things, bro. Young brother, good night, man.
Be safe,
Alex. We'll be reaching out, man. We'll be in contact, and we'll continue to build, brother. Be easy and be safe, my man.
Thank you. Appreciate y'all.
Peace, baby.
Easy.